California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.
Coming up on California Heartland.
It's a very happy tree right now. And it can hardly wait to give us its olives.
You might call this divine intervention. Meet the Dominican Sisters and a man on a mission to help preserve one of California's oldest olive tree crops. And
I love team roping and I love this rodeo.
from the courtroom to the corral, meet the California attorney turned cowboy who really makes a case for saddling up and chasing a new way of life. Plus,
You're gonna dig a hole and pour those
new composting techniques that turn yard scraps into a gardener's gold.
Eventually make compost.
From your backyard to the back country, in a field or on your family table, it's all about what keeps California moving and growing. This is California Heartland.
Look way up there.
Yeah,
I mean, way at the top. Bunch up here.
Excitement fills the air for the Dominican Sisters of Mission San Jose.
But see this one too.
It's that time of year again when their olive trees are loaded. Cluster after cluster hangs everywhere in these historic olive trees with roots dating back to the late 1700s. And they're still growing right here on the original Mission land where Spaniards settled in Fremont.
Well, olives were something native to Spain, would be something that would have been part of their diet. So little by little, agriculture became a big thing here.
So Dolores, this is the oldest remaining building.
Of the original adobe buildings that were part of the Mission complex.
Wow. This dates back to?
This one was probably built about 1810 after the church was finished.
Just like most of the original buildings, the Mission crops have crumbled, except for these thriving olive trees. This is the oldest standing Mission olive orchard in the state, covering the land that remained after most of the Mission property was sold to ranchers in 1830.
We got back 28 1/3 acres of our land, some of which now we have sold off as well.
To
the Dominican Sisters of Mission San Jose, who are our neighbors behind us here.
Behind the Mission, rows and rows of olive trees, leading up to the Dominicans' mother house, sort of a divine intervention, introducing the next generation of caretakers for the crop. For decades, the Dominican Sisters would harvest the fruit and press their very own olive oil by hand for sacrament celebrations and convent cooking. But in 1964, that harvest ended when the sisters could no longer handle the harsh labor of picking and pressing.
So you used to pick these trees right out here?
But I remember more trees being here. And more, not so high, because I think they have grown.
They were lower.
They were lower, so I could hide.
Sister Florence Kumbelich was one of the sisters that used to pick the olives decades ago, back when all of this grass was covered with the trees she loves.
They are gorgeous. I mean, when you look at them and you see the silvery tops on them, and the wind breeze going through them.
For years, it was just falling on the ground. They were walking all over, splashing all over our habits, and it was going to waste, and that was really almost sinful.
But that sin on the ground became a gift from on high for Sister Karen Elizabeth Zavitz and the rest of the Dominican Sisters. A saint of the soil stepped forward when professional olive oil maker Dan Sciabica offered up the services of his company to pick and press the olives for the sisters for free.
I think staying connected to the spiritual significance of the olive tree and also the temporal significance of the olive tree in California is rooted right here.
He has such a passion. He has a passion for the olive trees and olive oil and, you know, its many properties, from the sacred to the secular. And he's really instilled that in us.
Well, I think you're going to have a good crop this year, and of course the olive oil will be impeccable.
I think that we have a lot better harvest coming up.
Your eye is getting trained quickly.
I mean, we had the trees, you know, we had the desire, but without someone like Dan, it would not have happened.
This is where the sisters' olives end up, at Sciabica's processing plant in Modesto.
When will these be olive oil?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Is that fast enough for you?
Wow.
That's not all that's fast. The olives right up a conveyor belt are dumped into a water bath, and the olive press is on. The water and oil are divided, and in a matter of minutes, the sisters have liquid gold. More than 1,000 bottles of olive oil that the sisters sell to raise money for the convent.
When we press those olives from Mission San Jose, I mean, the feeling here is just unbelievable. And every once in a while we get a little miracle thrown in.
But the sisters will tell you the real miracle is Dan Sciabica, a man on a mission with a passion for preserving history.
That means by the weekend after Thanksgiving, we can really start harvesting.
Sure
Back
can.
at the mother house, the sisters keep their end of the bargain.
That'll be
You'll
great.
make good olive oil.
Absolutely.
Tending the trees and praying for a good crop. Each of the sisters even has their very own adopted olive tree.
It's doing really well, so I must have been doing something right.
So like we like to say, well, it's from blossom to bottle. And that's what this is, because there's nobody in between except God.
And some very dedicated women, praying this growing history will live on, celebrating their prized olive oil.
And this is
That is a finished
voila.
product. That's it. That is the pressed
Olive
filtered,
oil.
bottled, labeled, sealed, ready to go out the door.
To not have olive trees in heaven would be a shame.
The nectarine, a mouth-watering fruit that's packed with vitamins, potassium, and fiber. And did you know the nectarine is believed to be a crossbreed between a peach and a plum? Food and lifestyle expert Laura McIntosh is bringing it home, from the crops to your kitchen.
Joining us up here on the kitchen set is John Jackson. Hi, John.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. What are you going to cook for us today?
Well, I've got a couple of things. I'm using nectarines to make a nectarine soup.
But this is kind of a cool soup, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's going to be very flavorful and very easy to do. How do we do it?
Really simple. Normally I add butter to this, but today I feel like a little bit of olive oil, so
okay.
You can use either. Just
right.
A little bit to keep the fruit from sticking. I try to make the dice pretty much uniform so that when I cook it, it cooks evenly.
Okay.
Which gives the soup, you know, texture, and part of it's cooked and part of it's uncooked because you didn't dice it properly. You don't want that.
So very easy. This is just like a quick saute.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll just take sugar and I'll just add some sugar to it. Depending on the ripeness of the fruit, depends on how much sugar you want to add. So as you can see right now, the sugar on the sides of the pan is starting to caramel. That's right when you want to add your alcohol. Pull it off the heat.
Okay.
Because you don't want it to explode in your face.
Right. You don't want a flame in this instance.
Exactly.
All right.
So I'll add some for flavor. I'll cook it sec or dry. For this recipe, I'm just going to add a little bit of water.
But again, here's where you can substitute and you can add the juice of nectarines or something to give it more.
Plums or pears or
whatever.
Apples, or you could add sparkling, you could add champagne,
oh, sure.
You could add, you know, wine. I mean, you can do so many different things with it. It's just whatever you want.
And you thought there was nothing to do with nectarines besides eat them fresh? Well, here's the recipe. It's easy to do.
So then I'll just cook this with the liquid until it's soft. Bring it to a boil, cook it till it's soft, throw it in a blender.
Once it's in the blender, do we strain it?
If you want to.
Okay.
It's up to you. It depends. It's all about texture. It depends if you like a little bit thicker, you like a little bit cleaner. It's, you know, This has not been strained.
This has not been
is
strained.
blended. And I did add the peel, which was poached in simple syrup to remove the bitterness and to enhance the flavor of the peach and the color.
So all the fiber that's in the skin still remains in the soup.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Very nice, and that's it. And it's cooled, so it's not a warm soup, it's a cool or chilled soup.
Right, and something that's important with food. Hotter foods require less seasoning, colder foods require more. So when you taste this and it's hot and then it cools down, it's probably going to need a little more lemon juice, maybe a little bit more sugar, maybe a pinch of salt. Okay. So go ahead and taste it once it's cooled down.
All right. Then once it's here, you have some of this.
I do. That is a raspberry coulis, which is done the exact same way.
With raspberries.
Sugar and water, sugar and raspberry liquor, sugar and whatever you want, and raspberries. Cook it, blend it, strain the seeds, done.
Done, and
Simple.
Here, voila. So these are two fruits, one berry, one fruit actually, or drupe. A nectarine is a drupe. And how do we dress this?
Really simple. You just put it in the soup.
And look at that. Do anything you want.
Whatever you want. You could add whipped cream to this. You could add mascarpone. You could add mint leaf.
Wow. Make it your own.
For the last 30 years, Ed Madrid has carved his path as a criminal defense attorney in Southern California.
The law is my passion because it gives you an opportunity to really get your hands on issues that make a difference in helping people.
But with Ed, there's more than meets the eye. That's because behind this suit and tie lies the heart of a cowboy. Well, up to 10 years ago, didn't know his life was about to change after watching a roping event.
And I said, my God, I think I'd love to do this. This is fun. This is, I mean, most lawyers play golf, you know. I said, I don't want to play golf. I want to chase a steer. That's what I want to do.
Before he could jump into team roping, Ed had one major challenge to conquer.
I was close to 300 pounds at that time, and two, I didn't know how to ride a horse at that level. And so I set my mind to get in shape, and I've lost almost 100 pounds. You know, I'm in very good shape. And then I took a lot of lessons, and that got me more involved in the rodeo world.
So this lawyer by profession turned team roper by passion is now gearing up to take part in an event close to his heart, the San Dimas Rodeo.
What's your name? Nathan. Nathan. How are you doing today? Huh? Is this your first rodeo? Yeah. Oh, good.
Ed is one of 100 volunteers that puts on this yearly event that honors the spirit of the true cowboy.
I love country music. I love cowboys, so it's all good for me.
Well, this rodeo brings together a lot of business people, and above all, the people that run the rodeo are wonderful people, because none of these people get paid. Nobody gets paid. And what people don't see is the work that goes into putting a rodeo. These people work at this all year long.
Ed's favorite part about this rodeo is the focus placed on children, especially those with disabilities.
Yeah! All right!
The Buckaroo Challenge is for 30 kids with special needs. Today, Ed is partnered up with 8-year-old Cole, who has cerebral palsy.
Okay, let's go.
This is the Cole's third year doing the rodeo. He absolutely loves it.
Okay.
Even with the mild case of cerebral palsy that he does have, you know, there's so few things that he can do that typical kids can do.
You're a tough cowboy. I've been to many, many rodeos, but the San Dimas rodeo, it's small, it's intimate, and it's personal because you know the people, and these are people that they're doing it because they care, and it's a wonderful cause, and this is what brings these people together, and my God, what a better way to spend your weekend.
Get ready, get ready, 1, 2, pull it.
After this cowboy has showed the tykes how to rope, it's time for him to get out there himself and get that steer.
With the same energy I go after the steer, that's how I go after my adversaries. And that's how I represent a client. When you see me go after that steer today, picture a prosecutor or picture one of my opponents in a civil trial because I'm swinging that rope and I'm coming after you.
Law firm in Madrid, JB and the boys. Businessman team roping, team number 1.
Unfortunately, Ed and his partner didn't win.
Well, boys, maybe next year.
That's just fine with this lawyer cowboy. It's not about the prize. It's about the journey and the lives that are impacted along the way.
The picture. I mean, I love team roping and I love this rodeo. And God bless the San Dimas Rodeo and all the people that run it.
The roots of California's farming families grow deep. This is the heritage of our heartland.
I'm Chris Kurotomi. I'm the third generation to work on this farm. And my family has been making dried persimmons ever since I was a little girl.
I'm Toshio Kurotomi. I'm the fourth generation here at Otow Orchard, and I help dry the persimmons that we sell every year.
I'm Michi Montgomery. I'm a fourth generation at Otow Orchard.
I'm Helen Otow, and I was born here on this ranch. I'm still here.
At age 92, Helen Otow is more than just still here. She is the inspiration, the heart and soul of Otow Orchard, a 40-acre oasis of farmland in Granite Bay, a growing suburb east of Sacramento.
To me, she's been this farmer even after my grandfather died. She was still here. She was still working the garden, still pruning trees, still picking, still sorting, still doing all the things that a farmer does.
And there is plenty to do on the farm, which grows a variety of fruit, including peaches, pears, and plums. But what sets Otow Orchard apart are these persimmons and the ancient Japanese art of hoshigaki, or dried persimmons.
We've always had the persimmons. My grandfather apparently loved persimmons, and we planted a lot of them. A lot of the trees that are still here today.
Picking the persimmons is only the start of a delicate, time-consuming process that will transform the fruit into a sweet delicacy. The next step is peeling each persimmon by hand, all 20,000 of them. To get the job done, it is a cross-generational labor of love. There's Helen's grandson, Toshio, whose day job is computer programmer.
It's kind of about balance, I guess. It feels nice to come out on the weekend and help my parents and do something like this because, you know, it's different than what I'm doing day to day for my living.
When he is done removing the skin, his next task is to carefully loop a string around each stem and then hang the persimmons to begin the drying process. Then each individual persimmon is gently massaged every 3 to 5 days for about a month and a half.
It helps to make the flesh consistent instead of just being dry on the outside and a hard, tough core in the center. It also helps the moisture to be moved around and evaporate and brings the sugar to the surface.
When the process is finished, the persimmons go from being these orange beauties hanging in the sun to this, hoshigaki, sweet, chewy, and naturally sugar-coated treats, which the family sells for about $20 a pound at their fruit stand on the farm and online, too.
It's a tradition. It's something that connects us to each other.
It's a tradition, though, that might not have ever happened.
My father and my mother. That's probably the oldest picture after they came from Japan, I imagine.
Helen's parents arrived in the U.S. in the late 1800s, eventually purchasing the Granite Bay orchard in 1911. In 1939, though, her father died. And 2 years later, Helen married her husband, Seichi Otow. But by then, the U.S. had entered World War II, and the family was sent to the Japanese internment camp in Tule Lake.
Oh, it was hard because they didn't give us much time. We had to get rid of all our, like the car, we had to sell it real cheap. And we left the house.
She says friends lived on the farm but neglected the land, which the Otows discovered when they returned after the war.
Oh, it was pretty bad. They hadn't been watering it, or, you know, they didn't take care of it much because they weren't farmers.
Decades of hard work have made the Otow orchard what it is today, drawing customers with its fresh produce and, of course, hoshigaki.
Running around and marketing directly to stores was a start, but what really took off was marketing directly to the public. The signs up at the road, our daughter painted those maybe back in 2001 or 2000, and all of a sudden, instead of 1 or 2 cars a day, there was 20 or 30.
The sentimental family history of Otow Orchard continues. Michi chose springtime at the farm to marry her husband, Scott.
It's just the most romantic time of the year that I've ever known. And then also my grandmother was married here.
It'll still be a few years before Helen's great-grandchildren have to decide their futures. Their dad, Toshio, has a wish.
It's important for me to feel like there's continuity and that the farm will still be here 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now.
But one thing Helen doesn't want to see change.
Well, I didn't want to get big, you know. I kept telling them, don't get big, don't get big. We're doing well. We're not getting rich, but we're doing all right, you know. And in a way, we're enjoying ourselves, even though it's a lot of work.
Everyone's a farmer when it comes to their own backyard. Try these tips for doing it homegrown.
Farmers and home gardeners love compost and they love mulch. But what's the difference? Well, compost can be a mulch. Looks like this. Straw is a mulch, but it's not a compost. Compost does one very important additional thing. It adds nutrients and vitamins to your plants, vegetables, and trees. So where do we get compost? Well, the easiest thing to do is buy it. This is planting compost. This is what it looks like. It's all pretty. It's already been made up for us. Smells great. It's got great nutrition for your soil, your plants and veggies. Or, you know, soil loves the same things that we like to eat. So get one of these little bins, keep them next to the garbage can, and add things like fruits, coffee grounds, peelings like potatoes, some green produce from the refrigerator, egg peels, and citrus. Mix these kitchen items along with stuff from the yard like brown leaves and green grass, and yummy. You've got some of the best ingredients for food for your soil. Now let's go add all this to our compost pile. All right, to make your compost pile, you're going to add a layer of green, like our grass clippings. You're going to then add a layer of brown. You're going to take these kitchen scraps, you're going to dig a hole and pour those about a foot down. And then, well, it's a matter of time and a lot of turning. Well, this is it. This is what we do at home. We get a pitchfork and you turn and you eventually make compost. Nicolai Laquaglia is with me from the Horticultural Center, and you're doing a good job on this bin, but I think that there are some easier ways to do this.
These are bins and they work very well. We've found that they get up to temperature very quickly.
We're going to put in a layer of brown and a layer of green.
Yeah, we think of it as carbon and nitrogen, a layer of brown carbon to a layer of green nitrogen, and then you just get it into the bin, you get it some water on there, use a sprinkler or something or other, and you take a fork and you turn it. And you keep doing that layer after layer until you get it up to the top.
This one is a little more portable.
Take these apart or lift them off of the pile. This is a covered one, and there's a couple of advantages to that. You can just pull it out of this bottom.
Now there's also some stackables. As you get more compost, continue to stack it up.
The microbial action is what's doing the work for us in there, and it's the nitrogen and the carbon mixing together with the right amount of moisture, and we're getting these things up to, we had one of them go to 164 degrees in one day.
All right, let's go talk about the second kind you're testing.
Okay. You can just have this door on there and you can take a hold of the handle and it's not hard to turn at all. This is the tumbleweed. We found this to work very well. So you take out the shelf the top part falls to the second section.
Now, these all cost money, and unfortunately, most of us don't get the opportunity to buy them and use them like you have. So after all of this experimentation, what's your favorite?
I have to admit, it's the cheapest one down there.
I bet it's my favorite too. The green and the black round bins.
That's right.
The ones that come apart very easily, have lots of holes. They get up to temperature. You said it got up to...
Very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah, if you wanted to have very quick compost, you could have it there.
So we're going to be mulching our gardens all year long, so why not combine the two and mulch with compost and feed your plants at the same time?
That's California Heartland. For more information on any of these stories, go to californiaheartland.org. I'm Chris Burrows. We'll see you next time.
To order a copy of this show, visit us online or call 1-888-814-3923. The cost is $14.95 plus shipping. California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.